Hi, my name is Peter. I'd like to show you how to run ANSYS Fluent in batch mode on the Rescale ScaleX platform. So first of all, go into rescale.com and log in with your credential, and it will bring you to this page that was list of your simulation you have run in the past. Now, if you want to run a new ANSYS Fluent model, click on the New Job button on the top left, which will bring you to your job setup page. It says Fluent. You can give it a name. For ANSYS Fluent, you need two files in order to run it properly. You need a case file that contains the geometries and the mesh and the setups, and you need a journal file that defines how you like to run your ANSYS Fluent. You can prepare these files locally on your computer, and if you have it ready, you can click Upload from this computer, and let's upload those to this job. So now you can see the status of uploading here. So the case file, we're using the .gz format for a compressed format. And for the journal file, you can actually view it. It's a text-based file. Essentially, what we're saying here, we're gonna open up the case file. We're gonna do the initialization. We're gonna solve it for up to 500 iteration. Once it's done, then we're gonna save it back to the case.gz with the number of iteration and exit ANSYS Fluent. Now, this is essentially mimic what you do on the GUI and in a command line base. All right, now we have the input file ready. We have the journal file set up already. And I should mention that this journal file can be generalized. So if you can use this example and adapt to your own model. Now, next step is to pick the ANSYS Fluent as the software. So here we can search for Fluent and go ahead and select ANSYS Fluent. And you can pick the version you like to use. So let's using the latest release, 2019 R1. And down here, it will ask you to pick the input file to start. And in this case, it's going to be the journal file, run_plot.jlu. And once you click, it's going to be has a green check mark in front, and you see the command template will populate to adapt to this input file here. And finally, you choose the license option. Now, if you already have a ANSYS Fluent license and where either Rescale is hosting the license or Rescale connect to your license server, you'll choose the bottom option, use existing license, and then type in your license server address. If you're doing a trial with us, you can use the Rescale trial license here by clicking the on-demand and Rescale trial. All right, once you have all that, let's go on to the next step, which is picking the hardware resource you like to use. So here you choose the best core type you think is for your model. And if you're not quite sure, let's start with Onyx, which is a very good core type for most of the models. And you can pick Onyx. And down below, you can set how many number of cores you like to run. This model is fairly small. I'm gonna go ahead and run with 18 cores. And finally, I'm gonna set a wait time of 5 hours because I know it runs about 1 hour. Okay, and then let's go on to the next step. This is where you can add a optional post-processing script for here. And again, this optional, let's go ahead and skip that. And finally, you'll go into review, making sure everything looks good on your account. And that's it. You can go ahead and click submit, which will go into the submission sequence. So the Rescale will gonna validate your account and inputs, go in and provisioning the cluster for the job. And then finally, you'll go into the running job stage to start iterating. Here, now the job has been start running. You see it takes about sometimes 2 to 5 minutes to starting the cluster. And once it's done, it's gonna be under the running job stage now. So while the job is running, you can monitor the progress. The best way is to look at the process_log file, which will show you what stage you're at, what iteration is at, and making sure the residual is converging. Now you can also set up your ANSYS Fluent model such that it generates plots as it's solving every iteration. And if you have done that setup, you'll see this residual.jpg file showed up here, which will show you visually your residual that's converging down. Again, this is help you monitor results as you are progressing. All right, once the job is completed, you will see all your output. Once it's completed, it will show up under this results tab. So this is where you can download all the results and move everything back. So this is how you run ANSYS Fluent in batch mode on Rescale. Now, if you don't have a ANSYS model just yet, you can use one of our tutorial to get started. To access the tutorial, you can click the Help menu on the top right and click on the documentation link. On the documentation, you're going to the ANSYS resource and going to ANSYS Fluent, ANSYS Fluent batch example. So here we provide you two different examples you can run right away. So if you want to run this T-junction pipe example I just showed you earlier, simply click Import Job Setup button, which will move and make a clone copy of that example and set it up under your account. It takes about a minute or so, but once it showed up, you have all the inputs and all the models and everything ready for you to launch. So now you see it's showing up under the account now. It's loading into your Rescale account. All right, once this is completed, again, it takes a minute or so, you see everything is now completely set up. So you have the input file ready, you have the software set up, and you have the hardware set up. At this stage, all you do is to click the submit button, which will launch this job, and you can experience how to run this on the Rescale platform. All right, thank you. Let us know if you have any questions.